From Nutrient Ag Solutions, this is Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, December 20th, 2021. Got a lot of cold air making its way off to the east. We're going to see another shot of cold air come in here over the next 4 to 5 days. Bitterly cold air really going to be the story as we close out the month of December. We'll look at the satellite picture here, and we can even pick up the very bitterly cold air and some of the snow on the ground here with the infrared satellite picture. You see an upper level low right here, the cyclonic flow right there. We kind of follow a front back here to the next wave that's starting to lift in here across portions of the Pacific Ocean. But you see the purple shading there, very cold air making its way across the prairie. Cold air that doesn't really do much as far as precipitation goes, as far as producing some measurable snow. The radar is quiet across the prairie here on Monday morning, and it's really going to be generally quiet over the next couple of days, just with some very light snow possible, very near the Highway 16 corridor. We'll take a look at that, the NAM model. That'll take us through the next 3.5 days. Again, light snow, maybe some flurries across the area. Expect a quiet Monday. This takes us into Monday night, maybe some flurries moving into southern portions of Manitoba overnight. You wake up on Tuesday, going to be generally quiet on Tuesday across the region, maybe in Grand Prairie, Peace River toward Edmonton. North central portions of Alberta, maybe some light snow during the afternoon and evening hours on Tuesday. This little disturbance may be following Highway 16 as we head through Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and then we see another little clipper system emerge here Wednesday into Thursday, perhaps producing, this is during your daylight hours here on Wednesday into Wednesday night, and then now early on Thursday morning. So as we head through the first half, maybe first 2/3 of the coming work week, there will be opportunities for some light snow. No real disruptive storm systems to talk about, but again, just maybe 5 to 10 centimeters of snow very near the Highway 16 corridor. That's the most likely area to pick up some measurable snow here. As you head into portions of southern Alberta and southwestern Saskatchewan, likely going to be much lighter. Still maybe seeing some flurries, but anything accumulating, probably holding off for the weekend, if not into early next week. We'll look at the total snow forecast between now and Saturday morning. The national blended model on the left, and then we've got the European operational run on the right. You see a very similar story, very near Highway 16 for more of the accumulating snow. You get a little corridor here as we get into a late week, maybe another shot of 5 to 10 centimeters. And as I take it all the way into early next week, we're looking at the next 10 days now. Maybe a world here where we start getting more in the way of impactful storms early next week. So over the coming week, light flurries, very light doses of accumulating snow. If you want more substantial accumulation, you're at least looking at early next week in the day 7 to 10 time frame. What's going on with the upper level pattern? Well, here you go. You got a big ridge across the Aleutian Islands pushing into the Gulf of Alaska, a trough over western Canada. So we've got flow coming in doing something like that. So we're bringing a lot of cold air from the north down into the prairie over the next 5 to 10 days. I'll go ahead and animate this, and you see the pattern persists with little disturbances kind of rotating around the base of that. So that's where we get the periodic light snow, and that's also where we get reinforcing shots of bitterly cold air. A pattern like this is going to produce frequent light snow, but it's not going to produce big disruptive, crippling snowstorms. The pattern evolves a bit as we get into day 7 to 10. Let me go ahead and drag it out. We're in a midweek, getting into the 24th and 25th of December here. And as we get into early next week, as this trough begins to kind of slink back to the southwest, it's possible we could get more in the way of southwest flow aloft. And the point being that we could bring storm systems in along this trajectory out of the southwest. That allows us to tap into the Gulf of Mexico a little more efficiently and produce those heavier swaths of snow. To that point, though, over the next week, the storm track is something like that, so we're sourcing from very cold, dry air. So shots of cold air, very efficient at producing that, but as far as deep moisture, heavy snowfall, not efficient in terms of producing that. So the story over the next 5 to 10 days, bitterly cold air. We're going to get a bit of a warm-up here as we drag some ridging in as we get into mid to late week, but another shot of very cold air as we head into the weekend and then finishing out the last 5 days of December or so. So cold air, that's the big story across the Canadian prairie over the next 10 days. We'll look at the precipitation forecast. We'll click through time here. This is the European model, and you'll see the story, again, over the next 5 days at least. Little clipper systems coming out of the northwest, light doses of snow, your best chance of accumulation very near Highway 16, and we're talking about 5 to 15 centimeters of snow between now and Saturday. So here you go through Monday, generally quiet across the region. Tuesday into Wednesday, better chance of some light snow, maybe some flurries, especially near Highway 16. As we get into Wednesday night and Thursday, the European model may be a little more gung-ho with that patch of 5 to 10 centimeters in portions of southeastern Saskatchewan into far southern Manitoba. But the pattern continues. Again, it's frequent light snow. You're going to see plenty of snowflakes this week. It's going to be hard pressed to find any substantial accumulation, though. Just we're adding light coatings, kind of a day at a time. Taking it into the weekend now. This is Thursday, getting into your Friday. Here we go into Saturday. This is as we get into early next week, where I think it's at least on the table, maybe some of these heavier doses of snow. And that's as we bring in at least the chance of maybe some of the southwest upper level flow here. Bringing in a more well-defined area of low pressure, maybe tapping into some deeper moisture. The pattern really lays itself out well when I show you a couple ensemble forecasts here. The European ensemble on the left, the GFS ensemble on the right, and I'm showing you the probability of picking up 6 inches or more of total snow between now and the 26th of December. Where you see the heavy snow setting up is across the west coast, British Columbia, down into the Pacific Northwest, the Intermountain West. And then here as you get into portions of eastern Canada, and portions of the Northeast. And that's because with this pattern, with storms kind of coming in like this, we're depositing a lot of the moisture here in some of the higher elevations of British Columbia and the Pacific Northwest. And then we see systems, they dive in out of the Northwest, they come in here across the Rockies, and then they lift across the Northeast U.S. And so you get 2 areas of heavy snowfall, neither of which centered over the Canadian prairie here. So we kind of, again, in between that frequent light snow, but we're still going to be looking at least early next week before we talk about anything in the way of disruptive, heavy doses of snowfall. Again, the pattern, good agreement, the European on the left, the GFS on the right. We're looking at December 25th through the 30th. Big area of cold air setting up across the Canadian prairie. So frequent light snow. Your bigger story, though, going to be bitterly cold temperatures as we head into the other side of December 24th. Again, a little warm up early this week. You'll see those highs creeping toward the freezing mark in Calgary. But then we're talking about overnight lows around minus 30, highs in the minus 20 range. Same story here at Edmonton. Check it out, minus 25 for your highs, minus 35 for the lows. Very similar here in Saskatoon, Regina, and then Winnipeg. So this is a widespread outbreak of bitterly cold air as we get to the other side of early next week. To that point, a slow warm-up, light doses of snow as you head through the next 5 to 6 days.